Admit it, you've quit Skyrim before. Maybe you beat the main quest, maybe you then got bored, thought you'd move on to other games. But then you reinstall it. Again. Skyrim is more than a decade old, yet millions of people still can't let it go. Why? In this video, I want to explore the psychology and sociology of Skyrim, the real reasons this game keeps pulling us back in, long after we thought we'd moved on. For me, it started the same way it did for a lot of people. I bought Skyrim on the Xbox 360 back in 2011, lost dozens of hours in the first few weeks, and eventually thought, okay, I've done it, on to the next game. But Skyrim isn't a game you finish, it's a game you orbit. You come back months or years later, start a new character, and somehow it feels fresh. So let's dig into why Skyrim is so sticky, why we can't quit. Skyrim is a giant playground for identity. Every time you start a new character, you're becoming a brand new person, who usually loves stealth archery. In sociology, this ties directly to Erik Erikson's theory of identity formation and Henri Tajfel's social identity theory. Erikson argued that experimenting with different roles is crucial to how people develop a sense of self, and Tajfel showed that we define ourselves partly through the groups that we belong to. Now this is exactly what Skyrim lets us do. When you pick to be a Nord, an Argonian or a Khajiit, you're not only picking the stats, you're also picking a social category. That choice changes how NPCs treat you, even how you fit into the lore, and how you would imagine yourself in the world. Then there are factions, the Companions, Dark Brotherhood, College of Winterhold. Joining one mirrors joining a real-world social group. It gives you status, responsibilities, even enemies. And here's the kicker, that in real life, these choices are costly. They have actual, real, tangible risk. Switching careers, switching religions, switching social circles, none of that is easy. There's a chance that you lose everything when you make such a major change, which means playing with identity is so much harder. But in Skyrim, you can live out completely different identities with zero consequences. You don't like it? Reload an old save. Problem solved. This is why so many of us keep coming back. Each playthrough isn't just new content, it's a new identity to inhabit. That feeling of embodying something completely different at a moment's notice is incredibly freeing, and not something you can easily mimic in our own real world. One of the most intoxicating things about Skyrim is this sheer freedom. You can ignore the main quest for 300 hours and nobody will stop you. Sociologist Emil Durkheim had a concept for this: anomie. A state of normlessness, when the usual rules and expectations just don't apply. In real life, anomie often feels unsettling or sometimes dangerous, but in a game, it's liberating. Skyrim gives you this perfect balance, a world with enough rules to feel believable, most of the time, just don't go nicking sweet rolls, but loose enough that you can do whatever you want. You can cosplay a blacksmith, an assassin, a wandering bard, or just spend days picking flowers and eating mysterious-looking mushrooms in the forest. This autonomy is one of the three basic needs in self-determination theory. The other two are competence and relatedness. When we feel like we're in control of our choices, we're more motivated and satisfied, and Skyrim gives you autonomy in spades. That's why you can spend hundreds of hours in Tamriel without ever touching the main quest. Freedom, without real-life consequences, is addictive. And, sometimes you just need to make 10,000 iron daggers and consume 200 wheels of cheese. Much easier in the Elder Scrolls. Skyrim is also the perfect cycle of weakness, struggle, and triumph. At the start, depending on the difficulty, the dragons are a big old challenge. Later, they're basically a minor inconvenience between your spells, bows, and dragon shouts that can force them to land and get glued to the floor for a while. This arc is what psychologists call competence, again from that self-determination theory. Humans are wired to crave growth, mastery, and progress, and Skyrim delivers that every time you level up or unlock a new shout. Sociologist Max Weber wrote about the types of power and authority. We have traditional authority, like the Greybeards, respected for their ancient knowledge and deeply traditional way of life. We have charismatic authority, like Ulfric Stormcloak, who inspires loyalty through personality, although in his case you could also argue he has traditional authority. Long live the Nords. Legal, rational authority is the other type, like the Empire governing through rules and bureaucracy. Again, slightly contentious because they did conquer through various wars, and then almost get conquered themselves and forced by the Akaviri Dominion to renounce Talos, thus the Civil War. But that's a whole other story for another time. Skyrim lets you confront, join, or overthrow these institutes of power. This helps the game's conflicts feel more than just fantasy plots. It puts you in the driver's seat of change. Although, that being said, being able to change the systems of power might be the most fantastical thing about the entire of the Elder Scrolls. Probably best not to think about that. And it's not just the triumph that hooks us, it's the struggle. Those early game moments when you're down to your last life-saving cheese wheel or sneaking through the dungeon with no arrows left. That tension makes the inevitable power fantasy so much sweeter. Finally, Skyrim is endless. Technically speaking, the main quests end, but thanks to the Radiant quest system, there's always another dungeon, another bounty, or another guild mission. More pertinently, the incredible community added mods, which means Skyrim is effectively an infinite game. Sociologist Zygmunt Bauman described modern life as liquid modernity, constantly shifting, never complete, always in motion. Skyrim mirrors this. There's no real ending, the world just keeps flowing. Mudcrabs keep attacking. And that's why it stinks. You can never truly finish Skyrim. There's always one more build to try, one more mod to install, one more role to inhabit. That endlessness means the game is less like a novel you close when you're done, and more like a city you keep revisiting. Each time you return, it feels different, but familiar. So, why can't we quit Skyrim? Because it's not just a fantasy game, it's a mirror of how people wish we could live in the real world. We keep coming back to try on new identities, which we can't really do anywhere particularly easily in real life. We crave the rituals and belonging it offers, the way real societies bind people together through ceremonies and shared traditions. We get hooked on the freedom, that intoxicating sense of autonomy and normlessness that real life rarely allows for. We thrive on the struggle and the power, echoing how humans everywhere chase mastery, influence, and control. And we can't escape the endlessness, a world that never truly closes, always shifting, always offering another path, just like modern life. That's why Skyrim endures long after the graphics make it look dated or the mechanics feel clunky. It's because Tamriel doesn't just entertain us. It reenacts what it means to be human, in all its chaos, community, freedom, and its struggle. And maybe that's why we always reinstall it. Because in some strange way, Skyrim isn't just a place that we play in, it's a place we belong. If you enjoyed this breakdown, let me know what game or series you'd like me to analyse next. Should I tackle Fallout, Darkest Dungeon, even dig deeper into Skyrim's Civil War? I have some opinions on this, okay? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I reply to everyone, and if you want more long-form deep dives into the way games reflect real life, don't forget to hit subscribe. See you soon.